Welcome back to the Compound Podcast. This is episode 241. 241 of the Compound Podcast presented by Parse Rum. When I say Parse, you say Rum. Parse.
Rum.
Good job. Good reaction, Dakota. Go to Benny's. Get your Parse. It's a great time of the year for Parse. I think we'll have a little bit of Parse representation at CubsCon. CubsCon is next week. Who's excited?
Isn't it this Saturday?
Well, it's this Saturday, but I guess it's our next show will be the live show.
Oh, you 100% said the wrong thing.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. You said it's next week, and it's this Saturday.
When people hear this, it'll be in 2 days or 3 days.
You're right.
Hey,
you're right. I'm wrong. Okay,
that's
I'm
why
gonna take accountability.
That's why you keep us around, for your accountability's sake. You know.
Yep. You guys are holding me accountable. Dakota, you got an interesting look on right now with the hoodie and the beanie going on.
You know why, Ian? Because it's 10 degrees here. So save it down there in Texas, golfing. I'm not jealous. I like the cold. It actually was really pretty outside today. It was snowing a ton. I love when the flurries get going. Oof, it's hard to beat. I love all 4 seasons. I'm a Michigan man. Not a Michigan man. I'm from Michigan.
And we're back. I had to take a 30-second time out there from the pod. Right, we just got home. Right when we got home, you know, you get the fire alarm that's doing the little beep on you, low battery beep.
The worst.
So I get up there on the ladder because I'm handy. I take it out of the ceiling, pull it out. Like, all right, I'm going to change these batteries. Put freshies in. Put the thing back up there. It says hit the test button. Great, I'll hit the test button. Hit the test button. The whole house goes off. All the fire alarms are going off. The carbon monoxide. Okay, great.
This is a problem.
Well, when, my house is set up to like the Ring monitoring. So I get a call from Ring 1 second later. Hey, are you at your house? There's carbon monoxide. We've already called the fire department. They're already coming. No. I didn't do that. It was just I was just changing the batteries. So I got the system to turn off. And then I came in here to podcast. Well, the fire department showed up at my door. Good response time by them. Very good response time.
That's good to know, though, that like in case of an emergency, like, again, Tom may have said it when you were gone, high income area, like they're probably moving pretty quick to get to you. Like Tom's like, if that's me, I'll be on the floor for hours days before someone finds me.
I mean, they got there quick and they brought the carbon monoxide tester. We're good. No carbon monoxide. Everything's fine. They did not. They were like, we got batteries in the truck because I don't think my batteries work that I tried to put in. They were like, well, we don't have AA's. But they went and looked for them. They tried to give me some AA's.
So wait, the fire department came and the only thing they were going to do was give you new batteries.
Well, no, they checked the carbon monoxide levels. Normal.
Would you consider yourself, you said like you're handy, like, do you actually think you're a handyman?
No.
Because I take great shame in the fact that I can't fix anything. Like it sucks. Like I wish I was more handy. I can't do much of anything. And I want to, but I can't.
Dakota, if it makes you feel better, right now you do look like a guy that would be able to fix things.
Double Carhartt on right now? Are you serious? Look at this guy. I can get up there. What do you need done? You need new roofing? Let me get up there. I'll throw some shingles on there.
Generally, when I try to be handy, something like this happens where like I get the ladder, I get up on the ladder, I think I know what I'm doing. And before you know it, I've called the fire department for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a funny story.
Yeah.
I live and die by YouTube. I'm like, all right, YouTube can tell me how to fix this. And I'll just watch a real handyman do it. And then I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah. And then mess it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to podcasting here, back to the episode. We're talking about CubsCon.
Yeah, Dakota said he was a Michigan man. He just loves Jim Harbaugh.
No, Tom, I thought you said you were going to cut that part. I meant to say I'm a Michigander. I love the state of Michigan, and I love my Spartans.
2023, you sign off on everything Michigan did. You were actually best friends with Connor Stallion, so I remember correctly, right? That's like your close personal friend.
I'd say it's one of our biggest issues right now in the world is that he's not in jail.
One of the biggest in the world is that Connor Stallion isn't in jail.
I'd like to retract that. That sounds a little too far. Not funny, more just too far. I denounce Connor Stallions. That's what I'd like to say. I'd like to rewind, denounce. There you go. Better. I can't get in trouble for that one.
Do you guys want to talk about CubsCon?
It's next week, right? Or is it this week, Ian?
It's this week.
Oh, this week. Okay.
Just this Saturday, the 18th. Well, Friday.
Is it one day?
Or is it
it's 2 days,
3
right?
days. But the thing that we care about on this podcast is Compound Live, which is on Saturday. believe it's 11 a.m. Pretty excited. I don't know if we can officially say who the guests are because I don't know if the Cubs have announced it, so I'm not going to say anything.
I think you got to be less afraid to step on the Cubs' toes. They're paying
I'm
you a lot of money.
I'm a company man. You got to remember
What's your company? The compound or the Cubs? You got to choose a side here. Probably the Cubs. It's the Cubs. It's the Cubs. It's the Cubs.
I'll just say this: when we found out who the guest was, you immediately texted me and Dakota, and we both were like, "Wow, holy blank!" So if hopefully when everyone listens next week, they'll feel the same way that Dakota and I felt when we got that text.
I also will not be there. May or may not be going to the Lions game Saturday night. You got to get your priorities in line. I live and die with my Lions. Sorry to the fans.
If they don't win, I'll be really upset.
You're telling me I will be crying in the stands. I'm going to sleep over at Ford Field crying if they lose. I will literally I'll quit the pod. If they lose, I'll quit the pod. You heard it here first, folks. Guaranteed win.
I think the biggest story at CubsCon, well, I don't think. The biggest story at CubsCon is that Sammy Sosa is coming back. That's the big story. Huge. Do you guys have like a childhood Sammy Sosa memory, like an ingrained Sammy memory?
I mean, you're born, 94? Dakota, 94. You're 95. I'm 96. So like when 98 happens, all of us are just a hair too young to really appreciate 98.
Yeah.
But like I always think about 2003 games 1 and 2. He had back-to-back he had homers in back-to-back games in the 1 and 2, and the one in game 1 was in the 9th inning, huge home run in that series. And then obviously you think about like beyond individual moments, like the crow hop became like something, if you played Little League around that age, you saw kids doing that all the time. And you saw coaches going, don't do that. Respect the game. Play it the right way. But like every kid loved the Sammy Sosa crow hop, and that was an iconic thing that like lasted, that still I think kind of endures if you're someone around our age.
To me, it's the Sammy hop, like that, like just watching his highlights and seeing like the homers and the hop, and then this one to the camera.
Yes. I will say, this is going to sound sad. It's not sad. I had a lot of fun when I did it. I would play wiffle ball alone sometimes in my driveway, and depending like where I would hit the ball, it would be like a single, double, triple home run. I'd hit a home run and I would do the Sammy hop when I was growing up. So him and McGuire home run race, like that's really probably the biggest memory that sticks out in my mind.
Well, I'm looking at his baseball reference right now. There's a lot of really good seasons in here. There's a lot of like very impressive things. He had a really like crazy stretch of playing a ton of games from like 97 till 2002. In 2001, he had a 10.3 WAR.
Get to the OPS plus. Say the OPS plus. I'm going to throw up.
203 OPS.
203. He's twice as good as the average MLB player.
160 RBIs, 64 homers, led the league in RBIs, runs, total bases. I mean, that he had a 1 dot for 4 straight years, and the 5th year he had a 993. The numbers are stupid, but that double-digit WAR number really stands out on the page.
For OPS plus, people have to keep in mind that's relative to the rest of the league that year. So we're talking about 2001, the height of the steroid era, the height of home runs exploding in baseball, and he has a 203. I mean, he's the all-time leader in home runs for Cubs. He's the only guy who's had a 30-30 season. He did it twice with the Cubs. I'm glad that he's able to make up and they're able to get him back in the fold, because he's one of the greatest living Cubs, and it's important that he's a part of the history of this organization, because he is such a valuable part of the history of this organization.
Do you think, Ian, this will be like the biggest turnout since you've been there, just with Sammy being back? Like, I have to feel like this is going to be the biggest turnout they've had in years.
I think it's probably the most like excitement for one individual for sure. I wasn't at the post 2016. My first one would have been after 2017. And I think there was still, because it was NLCS World Series, NLCS. I think there was still just like so much excitement. Maybe it was because my first one and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? But I think just excitement for like one individual, like everybody's because we had some free agent signings that guys would come in and people would be excited because it's like, here's our new player. And what Sammy means to so many of those fans. And probably a lot of people kind of where their fandom started or their memories as kids. I think he means a lot to so many Cubs fans. Can I also just one more stat thing? I'm just like, I'm over here on the baseball reference. You were talking about the OPS plus of 200. I'm looking at so he finished second in the NL MVP when he had a 10-win season. And I'm looking at this. Barry Bonds won the MVP. You just think about that. All of those years he was really good. So it was Barry secretary who was just winning all the MVPs. But in this MVP race, this is just the NL. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players with over 1,000 OPS.
That's great. How many are there in like last year? How many do you think there were?
2.
Judge and Shohei?
Yeah, I think Soto was just under, right?
That's crazy. And
Soto was above for most of the season, then slumped a little.
Semantics, Tom. Come on. He was under 1,000. Quit. He's not on your team anymore. He left you. He didn't want to be there anymore. Don't defend him.
Why are you coming at me? Jeez.
I don't know. I'm kind of all fired up right now. I don't know why.
There was one guy over 1,000 in the AL. His name is Aaron Judge.
I've heard of him. Good player.
Ever heard of him? And in the NL, 1 player. And the next closest in the NL, 932.
Who was second?
Ketel Marte.
Ooh.
You just look at the drop off. Like it's like Shohei had a 1,036. Ketel Marte 932. Ozuna 925. That's the only other guy. There's 3 guys over 900. What a different era of offense. That's just crazy.
Ian, I have a question for you. Take us through a day at CubsCon for you. I think like Saturday is obviously the big day. So like take us through your Saturday of like what your duties are.
Yeah, I probably get there. I'd say my arrival time is probably right around 9 a.m. I would say in a typical CubsCon, I'll have like an autograph signing. I'll do Compound Live. We'll do a Connect Roasters meet and greet. I'll probably have Cubs charities, like 30-minute photo signing for people coming through.
Is this kind of like you set a lot of it up, or do the Cubs kind of like obviously Connect
No.
Roasters is like you and like charities is you, but like for like younger guys, because it's all the 40 man, like guys that it's their first time, like is it just kind of like, all right, you sign autographs and you kind of hang out and we'll tell you where to go?
No, it's all set. Yeah, it's all set up by the Cubs. So even like the Cubs charities thing is all Cubs. Autograph signings, all Cubs. They have asked us to do the Compound Live now this is our 3rd one.
I believe 3rd.
Maybe 4th, 3rd.
No,
but
it's either 2 or 3. I don't think it's 4.
Well, this is definitely 3. We've definitely done 2. So the Cubs have asked us to do the Compound Live, and then Connect Roasters this is our 2nd year of doing a booth there, or doing like a coffee service there and having a place. So we've done 2 meet and greets there, which are cool. Oh, and then we do like, what else we do? We end up doing like a bunch of our B-roll stuff for promos for different 670 The Score promo. Like, so we'll go in with the video team. We'll do a bunch of like reads and stuff, and they'll ask questions, do some videos like that. We'll go and like do like reads for 670, like the radio stuff. Be like, you're listening to the Cubs on 670 The Score. Like, we'll do a bunch of that stuff.
Is that typically the big boys though? Like the bigger name guys are, a little shrug right there. You're like, no big deal.
They have guys do it. Yeah, we do some of that stuff kind of behind the scenes that isn't like fan facing. Yeah, it's kind of like, I would say I get there at 9, I'll leave around like 3.
How late does like the day go for?
Dude, they do bingo. They do bingo at like 6 o'clock or something.
Oh, you go back for that? You go back for the bingo?
Yeah, I don't end up at the bingo. But people are there all day. But like if you're younger, you end up doing like there's like a kids panel, and then there's like all these different panels. And then sometimes you'll do like there's like a wiffle ball field with the kids. Like, so there's a bunch of different stuff. And like when you're younger, you'll end up doing either stuff like earlier or later in the afternoon.
What's bingo?
Like Cubs, they play Cub like bingo. They play bingo. What do you know what bingo is?
No, I'm familiar with bingo, but like, is it like Cubs themed?
I thought he was saying like, what is bingo? I was like, Tom, do you live under a rock?
Yeah, they do Cubs theme. It's like the bingo at CubsCon is a big event. Like people get fired up for the bingo.
Well, it's probably a big pot. Like if you win, right?
Well, I'm sure they give away prize. I'm sure they give away like maybe they're giving away tickets or something.
Yeah, I mean,
the bingo at CubsCon's a big deal.
Let's get you giving some tickets away at Connect Roasters, huh? Come on, kid.
Yeah. Why not?
You're good for it.
I'm good for it.
Maybe another first pitch. Who knows?
We did give away a first pitch.
We'll have to get Big Jim on the horn for that one. We can't authorize that.
Football fans, it is playoff time, and we've got some exciting games to look forward to, and you can get in on all the playoff action right now with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, they are offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5, and that's when you use the promo code COMPOUND. $200 in bonus bets instantly for betting just $5. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, use code COMPOUND, bet just $5 on any wager, and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code COMPOUND only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
I think the first thing we should talk about is this Roki stuff. And he might have signed by the time people are listening to this. It's possible.
I would say it seems like he's going to have signed probably by the time people have heard this. We're recording this Monday night, so people will have a better idea of what's happened probably by the time this comes out.
Yeah. He can't sign until Wednesday. So he could sign on Wednesday, like the first day, or maybe he's informing teams that they're out, and then he's going to go on his visits to some of these different cities over the next couple of days. Or maybe he already has. I don't know. But it looks like it's down to Padres, Dodgers, Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hearing. It's interesting that people are being kind of informed, like, hey, you're out, and then that's being reported, and then you have a bunch of sad fan bases. The Cubs, and I haven't checked in the last hour or so, but I did see on the Twitter that the Cubs fans were like, well, we're out, but it wasn't reported by a Cubs reporter last I saw. So they were like, well, all these other cities, it's been reported by like one of their beat writers. Like in Chicago, it's just kind of a random person. So maybe we're still in.
It was weird how it came out, because it was like the lottery of like the NBA lottery, and it's like, oh, with the 8th pick is these guys, and it's like, nope, not you guys, nope, not you, and then it's like, oh, is our name going to come up? It's like, no, we don't want our name yet. And it was weird, like you said. I never saw any posts that were like Cubs are out. It just like, oh, here is top 3, and I was like, well, what happened to the Cubs? So might still hold out hope. You never know. Let's get Say on the phone with him. We'll chat.
I'm surprised that maybe if you just want to whittle it down to 3 cities and then go see those cities. He's already in California, so he's probably already been around LA quite a bit. Maybe he would go into the stadium and stuff, but San Diego's not hard. But if you have to go to Toronto and like check it out, not a great time to be in Toronto. Pretty cold.
No. Well, I wonder what was said in these meetings that made him like cross these. Like it had to be just like, oh, I don't want to live in New York, because it's like, all right, like you're not getting more money one place or the other. Like you're getting pretty much the same money, and you're going to be a big time player for any team. It's not like, hey, we're going to start you in the minors and see what happens. Like you have a spot. So it's like, all right, like what is said that changed his mind one way or the other. That's what I would love to hear those conversations.
Yeah. Whether it's just like, here's what we think of your pitch mix, or here's how we'll use you. You know, the Dodgers could end up getting him. They're already looking at doing a 6-man rotation. So like he probably fits really well for that. It would kind of be gross though, huh?
He fits perfect for it, because I saw he hasn't thrown more than like, it was like 120 something innings in a whole year. So like it would fit well for him to go be in a 6-man rotation. Shohei coming off TJ, Yamamoto was banged up this year. Like just Glass now was hurt this past year. Like it would be very beneficial for them to go 6-man rotation with those guys.
He's also supposedly Yamamoto's best friend. So that's kind of, it seems like, it seems like I was going to say, it seems like he's going to the Dodgers. I mean, without the ability of a team like the Yankees or someone else to come in over the top of the Dodgers in terms of money, because the money's going to be the same. It's hard to imagine turning down a team with the 2 best Japanese players in baseball right now on the team, coming off the World Series. Meeting.
Get out of here.
No, Shota's better than
Yamamoto.
Don't
you talk about the Japanese players on the Dodgers and forget about the Cubs Japanese players.
I got your back, Ian.
I mean, all right, they certainly have the best.
I'll give you Shohei.
They have the best Japanese player, right?
I'll give you Shohei, but I'm not giving you Yamamoto above Shota after the year Shota just had.
I'm not giving you either of them.
Love that,
My
Ian.
guys.
Stick by your
My
guys.
guys.
They're both better than Shohei. You heard it here first.
You heard it here.
Okay.
I do. He's going to be a Dodger, and it's going to make me so mad. It's annoying because he's a guy they don't have to pay. So like they don't have to worry about the deferred money. And it's just, it's become annoying how much the Dodgers just keep adding when they're already defending champions.
If they get Roki, is every other GM in the league just going to be like, whatever?
They got to band together and be like, we're not trading with these guys at any point this year. Like, we can't give them any help. Like, they're going to try to come get a reliever at the deadline. No, you can't have a reliever. You can't have anybody. Like, Yeah, it's gross. But you know what? That's why you play the game on the field, because you never
play
know.
a game on the field. That's exactly right.
If Garrett Cole covers first base, maybe the Yankees are World Series champions. I'm not saying it. Maybe I'm saying it. You never know.
It's the time of the year for projections. My favorite time of the year.
What's the Cubbies projection? I didn't see this.
Well, I don't know the win projection, but like most likely to win Rookie of the Year. Like, here's like five guys who have never played in the big leagues. It's like, here's the guy that's most likely to win Rookie of the Year. It's like, what do you mean?
Matt Shaw was like second. I'm like, this guy's played 0 big league innings. Like, you're just saying like, oh, he's a good prospect. It's like, okay, yeah, like we know that.
Yeah, it's like here we've projected it out. The projections for guys that have never played in the big leagues before also cracks me up. Like projections for anybody, but you look at young guys who are just like getting their feet wet and figuring out the league. Like, yeah, a rookie could come in and have an unbelievable season, like some of these guys did last year or do every year. But to say that like, here's our projection for what X rookie is going to do this year, you have no idea. You have no clue.
The only one I'll give you is I'll give them is like the Jason Dominguez. I'm like, all right, I get that. Like he's played a little bit, like he's been exciting when he's played. Like, okay. But again, I agree with you. I'm like, if they've played 0 innings or thrown 0 innings, it's like, you have no clue what they're going to do. Like the best like Jackson Holiday was supposed to be a stud, like had some rough patches. Like all rookies come up and have rough patches. No one comes up and hits 300 with 40 homers in their rookie season.
Unless you're Chris Bryant.
Like that's an anomaly.
Everybody thinks that they will have the next Chris Bryant. Like everybody thinks that their top prospect is Chris Bryant. There's only one Chris Bryant. There's only one. Like every year you might get one guy who goes out and does the Cody Bellinger Rookie of the Year thing and like hits 30, 40 pumps and like it's amazing, but there's one of those dudes. Yeah. It's very rare that you have like a rookie class where it's like, oh my God, there's 5 superstars. It just doesn't happen.
And we're not saying these guys won't all go be great. It's just the projections are hilarious of like, 17% chance Matt Shaw is Rookie of the Year. It's like, where'd you get this number? What algorithm are you using?
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing we're also not talking about with rookies is the hardest thing to project with rookies is how they respond after the league responds to them, right? Like any guy can come up and get hot for 20 games or 30 games, but at some point teams are going to make an adjustment. They're going to start pitching you differently. And then that's really the question of, okay, now, how can you respond when they're taking away the thing you do best? What's your second best thing? What's your third best thing? How do you respond to failure? How do you respond to a 2-week cold stretch? That's the stuff that we can't tell. And that's why it's so hard to predict any prospects.
You can do the projection thing on wins and you kind of put on paper the average for what everybody's going to go out there and do. You could say like, yeah, this team has a better chance to win more games because of the players on the field when you run it out there, but it's not projecting for guys getting hurt and going down and all the things that happen during a season. Like it's just projections to me are just when the off season's quiet and you need something to fill the space, you just start throwing around projections.
But it's working. Like we're talking about it. And that's that's their job. Their job is to just give you something to talk about right now. And you know what? It worked. So
talking about it because I'm angry. Bruce Bolt. I love Bruce Bolt. I was actually just at the office this weekend talking to those guys. Got something cool coming out. I have something cool coming out I'm very excited about, but also they have a big project coming out that I'm very excited about. We'll be talking more about that. BruceBolt.us. It's that time of year to get your batting gloves before the season. Stock up. BruceBolt.us. Use code HAP. I'm going to spell it. HAPP, code HAP at BruceBolt.us. We have 2 free agent signings that I want to talk about. Jeff Hoffman to the Blue Jays. First big reliever off the market. Is that right?
I'd say so.
He got 3 for 33, but the Braves and the Orioles, this is allegedly reported, Braves and Orioles both had deals with him that were close. I think the Braves was in like I want to say like 550 something range. And then the Orioles was like 40 something range. And they both had failed physicals and didn't go through with it.
Do you ever, like when that happens, what happens with the third team where they're like, all right, like your physical's okay? Like, is it just something like, oh, like we don't find that to be a big enough issue? Because like, obviously something's there, whatever it may be, but like that the Blue Jays must have been like, oh, like we think you'll be okay.
Yeah. Or like they're willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
Like if it's like, I don't know if it's an elbow or if it's a shoulder or if it's a back or something where they're like, you know what, we're willing to take the risk, and either we think we can manage it and you'll be all right, or we think that if something goes wrong, like it's worth it.
Yeah.
But good move for the Blue Jays. They needed back end help. Vladdy got paid through the ARB process. Vladdy's staying. They want to extend him. You still got Springer. You still got Bo Bichette. They had some young players come up last year and play a bunch who are going to have a little bit more experience under their belt. Still got Berrios. Still got some guys in that rotation. Like, I know that last year wasn't what everybody expected out of them, but
according to some of the reporting, Hoffman had a 4 or 5 year deal on the table with the Braves. So when we're talking about like what was the red flag and what came back, probably it seemed to be something with his shoulder. Again, that's according to some of the reporting out there. So if you had a 4 or 5 year deal, the Braves probably came back with a 3 year deal. He probably said no because he thought he could go get another 4 or 5 year deal. Ends up he gets a 3 year deal. So it is interesting how you talk about what those red flags lead to. Obviously, there's some concern long term with the shoulder, but teams must feel okay enough about it that they can get 3 years out of him, but they don't feel good enough about 5 years, or at least the risk becomes too much at 5 years.
And I know there was some talk about him wanting to do the same thing that Clay Holmes is doing and start. Maybe it was, hey, 3 years and we want to use you out of the bullpen. We feel more comfortable with that. And if the Braves are willing to go to 5, maybe they were thinking more of, hey, we're going to see if you can start. We're going to see if you can fit into our rotation somewhere. I don't know. But I do think it's a good move for the Blue Jays. It's nice to see them going out and spending and doing that. I think you hope that this starts to move the reliever market forward. And we said this last week. I do think once Roki makes a decision, that'll start moving that market.
Yeah. And he has 7 days once the window opens? 8 days? 15 to 23?
23rd.
23rd, yeah. So he has like 8 days. So that's kind of crazy that at least he's able to talk to teams already, but it's kind of crazy that like once it opens, it's like, all right, you got till the 23rd. If you don't decide by then, you can't come.
Yeah. And you're back.
And that's it.
I spent a lot of time looking into why he came over earlier than the 25-year-old deadline that we talked about. And there wasn't a ton of reporting about it. It's interesting, though, that his velocity was down a lot this year. He was touching 99 and was he was touching 102 in 2023 and was sitting 99. His fastball velocity this year was down to 96.8 average. I mean, obviously still a very, very good fastball, but significantly down from where it was the year prior. And as Dakota mentioned, he's never thrown more than 120 innings in the season. He's had some injury issues. So I do think part of him wanting to come over now is maybe just a fact of, I want to get over here before I accumulate any more injuries or anything else happens and get my money and make sure I'm here in the major leagues before I have any other further arm issues. So it's an interesting guy to look at.
My only hypothesis, and this is an educated guess on the velo drop, could just be like I haven't thrown a ton of innings in a season, like because for whatever reason, like, I get tired or like I get these arm injuries from time to time. So maybe he's like, if I take a little off, I can last longer into the season. I can last later into the game. It's my educated guess. Could be way off.
Yeah, the velocity was down on all 3 of his pitches. So it was something that scouts were noting across the season that was like a concern for them. Obviously, he's going to get his contract and the Dodgers are going to put him in, like, let's be honest, probably the Dodgers are going to go put him in their rotation in a couple of days. But it is interesting. I mean, part of this is also when the Yankees didn't get him, I started looking at the scouting reports and cling to the stuff that you remember that's negative and you don't get the guy.
100%. You have to. That's how you cope with it.
The other free agent signing that I want to talk about is Justin Verlander to the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Verlander to the Giants. Great park to pitch in. That rotation looking pretty good.
I feel like the Giants and Blue Jays are the same of like every offseason they're like in the conversation for every guy. And like they never seem to get the big guy, but they get like a couple pieces. So hopefully it works out. I mean, he's 42 now, 41. He still shoves, like he still gets outs, but it's crazy that like he's still out there going out every 5th day. 42. Wow.
Yeah, turn 42 before the start of next season.
That's crazy. My body hurts at 30. I can't imagine what his arm feels like right now.
Jordan Hicks, Robbie Ray, Logan Webb, Justin Verlander. Birdsong, I think, came up last year and was starting for them. It's an interesting rotation.
And they got Willie Adames.
They signed Willie Adames. They got Chapman. They had some young guys that played a lot towards the end of the year last year. Jung Ho Lee should be back.
they're in the Dodgers division.
Dodgers and Padres.
That's the problem. That's the only problem there.
D-backs, strong division. Happy to see Verlander keep going. You know,
Yeah.
I know there's a little bit of the health stuff last year, but definitely some career marks that he's trying to get to, and like he might pitch forever.
I mean, he's at 262 career wins. Let's just have a real conversation with each other. He's not getting to 300, but he's the last guy that might ever even approach that number. Like, I don't even know if we're ever going to see another pitcher who's active ever get over 250 career wins again. So the fact that he's going to have a chance here, if he can pitch 2 to 3 more years and get, another 20 wins or something, he get 280, something in that vicinity. That would be pretty incredible, because I don't think anyone in the history of baseball is ever going to get 300 wins again, which is kind of crazy to think about, but the game's just changed so much.
I don't think anyone ever will. Like, I think we said it when like CC Sabathia retired, like he was at 250 and it was like, oh, like this might be the most we see for a long time. And then like Verlander's past that. But like you said, Tom, I don't think there's any way he gets 38 more wins, unfortunately. Like that would probably take at least 3 more years.
He would have to have like 2 vintage, like 2011, 2012, like just seems highly unlikely he's going to pull 2 18-win seasons out of his back pocket. I mean, that'd be incredible.
Even if he gets 218, though, he's still too short. That's my thing. He'd have to go 19 and 19 wins. Like that that doesn't happen anymore. Like, I don't know. We'd never even see like 20-win seasons.
I don't know if there was a 20-win season last year. I don't
think there was.
And like 15 wins for 15 years is 225 wins.
And that's so good to get 15 wins for like you're probably a Hall of Famer if you do that.
15 wins for 15 years? It's ridiculous. That's 225. I mean, I remember when Lester got 200, it was a huge deal. But yeah, 200 is the new 300. That is for sure.
It is cool to watch. And he's a guy that, like you said, Ian, like he'll probably be able to get a contract as long as he wants to keep playing. Like anyone would, if you tell me he's our 4th starter, like, yeah, I'll take Justin Verlander in my 4 spot.
Yeah.
So as long as he wants to keep going, like he'll probably keep getting contracts to keep giving it a go.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, last year, 18 wins. The high
Chris Sale, right?
And Tariq Skubal.
Friend of the pod. Both
2 friends of the pod.
Sorry about it. No big deal. You're welcome. Not going to say we did it, but we played a part.
But if you want to win the Cy Young, just come on the pod.
I mean, that's what we're saying. We had them both. I mean, Justin Steele, Cy Young this year. You heard it here first.
I have Justin Steele also. I'm about to see him. I saw a video. Justin Steele looks like kind of like beefed up.
Did you see him throwing the football? Is that the video you saw?
He's strong. No, not that one.
That's the one I saw, and I wanted to comment and be like, trash arm. Like, that's a duck. But it was actually a good ball. But I don't like to give out compliments.
Did you think he looked like stacked up?
Yeah, I mean, like he's not a like small guy by any means. So I guess it didn't like take me by surprise. But does he always live in Arizona? Because like he's at the facility right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I think
I'll report back. I'll report back next week on his physique.
You're gonna have to go in for a hug and just kind of like give it a feel and just be like, it's pretty good.
I'm gonna measure his neck too. Is this bigger? Was it? He looks like, I don't know. Picture eyesight. It was like, it looked like he was been getting after this offseason. But I'll report back on that. Here's my other free agent rumbling. Santander and Alonso obviously haven't signed yet. 2 big bats left besides Bregman. Santander and Alonso reportedly willing to go shorter term.
It feels like Alonso and the Mets reunion makes a lot of sense at like 3 years. I name a number, 90 million, 85 million, somewhere in that vicinity. If the two could get to that, I think right now they're both a little bit away from that. But that feels like the reunion that makes the most sense because the Yankees are off the table. There's not a lot of homes left for Alonso. So we've talked about he's a Boris guy. Boris is going to be patient, but at some point, sooner rather than later, I think that's where he ends up.
It's tough. Like, I mean, Ian, you're kind of doing it right now. Like, after next year, you will be a free agent if nothing happens and you'd be 32. Like, it's tough when you're 30 to like sign a 3-year deal. Like, obviously he wants a long-term one, but it's going to have to come to a point where like, hey, no one's going to give me an 8-year deal. Like, I'm going to have to play 3 and then hopefully kill it and get like another 4 or 5-year deal to kind of end my career on.
Yeah. Or sign a 3 and then go, do a Christian Walker, do another 3, do another 2, whatever that is. It's Santander's an interesting. I think for Alonso and just the first base market right now, I just don't think that there's an appetite from a lot of teams to pay him for a number of years when they're probably a little bit unsure of the defense, and then you have to find a team that has the resources and wants to make that splash. Teams just haven't really spent in the first base market past Goldschmidt, but that was an extension. It was a trade and extension.
Trade extension, yeah.
Freddie Free got paid by the Dodgers, but that was a deal that I think everyone thought was going to be a higher dollar amount, and he kind of grinded to get that number, and now looks like an unbelievable deal. Outside of that, in the first base free agent market, can't really think of a lot of big numbers that have been given out, like Jose Abreu signed that 3 for $60. There's some guys who have been kind of extended by their team, but not a lot of teams are going out and spending big dollars in that marquee first base range. So, not surprising that Alonso might have to go shorter term here.
But whoever gets Alonso, like you're getting the middle of the order bat that's going to hit 35 plus homers and like play good first base. Like you're getting a very good player for however long you choose to sign him for.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm kind of thinking like if he's willing to go short term, it opens the market up so much because there's why are the Cincinnati Reds not willing to go like 3 for $70, like a 3-year deal? Like if he's willing to go 3 years, like.
Well, we don't need him in the division, Let's pump the brakes on the Reds.
Let's
have him go elsewhere.
He rakes the Cubbies.
Yeah, that's why I said let's have him go elsewhere. Let's have him go to the AL.
I agree. You're right.
Let's get him out of there.
Send him to Boston.
Yeah.
Tom would hate that.
Yeah,
sorry, Tom.
Sorry,
Tom. I didn't mean that,
Sorry,
man.
Tom.
I
You
mean
admitted
that.
you're a Cubs fan too. You're with us. We're all one team.
Santander's the interesting one to me because he's a little bit younger. He just watched Teoscar, who's older, sign a 3 for $66. So is shorter term 3 years? Is it 4 years? Like, are we talking 4 for $100?
I feel like if you're going to go shorter, so he's 30. If you're going to go shorter, wouldn't you almost go like 2 years and do it again when you're 32 versus do it again when you're 34 or 35? Just because once you're trying to get that deal again, like Christian Walker right now, like if you're 34, 35, it's just a little tougher to get the number you want because they're like, we probably got 2-3 good years of you. And then like, you'll be kind of on the back end of your career. So I feel like you'd almost take like if he can just like, wouldn't you almost consider a 1 year? Like, hey, a team comes in, they go, Yankees go, we'll give you 1 year, $25 million. Like I'd consider that.
He's 30. So if he signed a 1 year, he'd be coming back at age 31. So, I mean, it's definitely possible, but like, what is that number? How high is that number for 1 year?
Yeah. I mean, that's what like Bauer did before Bauer was done. Like he kept doing the 1 year deals because he's like, I'm just going to bet on myself each year, make a ton of money, do it again. Obviously, it's a riskier play, but
I mean, we literally quite saw with Trevor Bauer why that's a very risky strategy.
For sure, 100%.
His performance over the last 3 years has been pretty steady. This year was definitely his best season by.
It's a good year to go into free agency for him.
Sure. Best season by OPS plus and like power production. He played 152 games, 153, 155 last 3 years. 120, 121, 134 OPS plus. Obviously this year with the 44 homers and the 102 RBIs is big numbers. He did hit 235. The on base is a little bit lower. I think they're the WAR numbers 2.3329, so he's probably getting dinged a little bit just because of the defense and the WAR, but like I'm surprised that there aren't people lining up to say here's 4 or 5 years.
I'm sure there is
like a 20 to 25 clip.
There probably is, but just not like at the number he wants. Like that's where I wish there's no way to do it. But like I wish we could just know the offers that are out there because it'd be like, oh, there is offers. There's just not like he just wants more.
Yeah, like is somebody saying 4 for $100 and he's like, or is it like 3 for
60,
65? Are they like, we'll give you the same deal Teoscar got, and he's like, well, I'm younger than him.
Yeah, which is fair, and that's I don't know. I'm not happy I never went through free agency because that would have been cool, but like it's got to be a stressful time, like waiting to get the best offer, but also not waiting too long.
I'm rooting hard for that Santander contract. I'll tell you that.
Corner
outfield market. Come on now. Corner outfield switch hitter. Get your money, man. Get your money. Don't let them tell you what you're worth.
If we need a question, I got a question from ex co-host. I guess we could still say he's still our friend from Zach Short. It's a non-baseball related question though, so you let me know when you're ready for it. But I did reach out.
No, go ahead.
He said he would like to know our favorite college late night place to go to get food.
Easy. Cincinnati, Ohio. Adriatico's Pizza.
Ooh.
Okay? Adriatico's Pizza. It was about a 5-minute walk from my apartment. Electric pie. They would call it the Bearcat. I think they had one in Columbus too, and they might have called it the Buckeye there, but they called it the Bearcat. And it was kind of like a Detroit style pizza, but it was a massive square. I'm not kidding. The thing was, or it was a rectangle, but it was so big.
It's feeding the whole house.
Yeah. I mean, we had 4, college guys living together, and every Sunday we would grab one of those things and get after it.
Ours was similar in East Lansing. It was at a place called Goomba's, which is just a classic college pizza place name of Goombas.
Goombas.
The pizza was good, but the calling card was the cheese bread. They had like the cheese bread that was the size of a pizza. And I mean, it's the same thing for us. It was like every Sunday we're getting Goombas. Like it was a ritual almost. And I miss that cheese bread so bad.
Isn't it also crazy to think about when you were in college and as a college athlete, you could eat like a disgusting amount of pizza that was just basically you were eating like 4 loaves of bread and you wake up the next day feeling great, ready to go do, like you probably had like a 6 a.m. workout the next day. You're like, yep, we'll go do it. Not a problem.
Put it this way. We talked last week about eating 10 pieces of pizza at Zach's wedding, and I felt horrible the next day. Like I wanted to crawl into a hole. I could eat 10 pieces of pizza in college. And like you said, 6 a.m. I'm ready to roll. Like workout, let's go. Like perfect. No problem.
At Illinois State, I don't know if you guys had like the meal plans where it was like you had flex dollars or like dollars you could spend at restaurants too.
Ooh, I've heard of that.
There was a Pizza Hut on campus at Illinois State, and me and my buddy, shout out Mike Mara, you get like, I don't know, 400 flex dollars for the semester. That's supposed to last you the whole semester on top of your meal plan. By like September 15th, all gone, just all at Pizza Hut. Just like the first 6 weeks of school, we were just every day and we would be like looking at each other, be like, we have to stop. Like this is like actually a problem. Like we can't just eat Pizza Hut every day and then be like, tomorrow back here again, and then we would just do it again. Also, in terms of like late night drunk food, Illinois State, great spot. Uptown Normal. I lived there my senior year. Ian's wife, we were talking about Windy City Wieners, probably my favorite place down there. Great hot dogs, great all kind of Italian beef, whatever you need. But also DP Dough. I know DP Dough is a place that runs in a lot of different schools. The calzones, nothing better than a little drunk calzone. And Insomnia cookies. Can't beat Insomnia.
Oh, Insomnia hits different.
I love it.
You reminded me of one other one, Tom. We had a place called Conrad's, and it was on the corner by all the bars. So it was like the perfect spot for when you're leaving the bars. And it was just like the wraps that would be stuffed with like chicken tenders, tater tots, cheese, bacon. And I'm like drowning it in ranch. And I'm drooling over it. It's so good.
I love that the question was pick your one, like the one place. Tom, you had 3.
Yeah.
I named my one was Goombas, but when Tom started naming other ones, I was like, you know what? I got a couple more. I'll throw another one in there. Insomnia is a great one though. Insomnia in college is dangerous.
It was dangerous living right there and having all 3 of those options available at any time. Like
that's a problem.
My wallet looked at me and was just like, we gotta relax. We're spending money we don't have.
Yeah.
Do you want Danny Mueller's hot take?
I would love nothing more.
It's topical. Danny Mueller's hot take this week is going to a football game is overrated. He'd rather watch it on TV.
So
some people could go to CubsCon instead of going to football games. Who knows?
So touche. I actually agree with that, except for the occasion of like a playoff game. Like the atmosphere is just going to hit different, but I actually agree that like I can see the game better on TV and like see the plays more. Like if you're in the stands and they throw a flag, you're cussing at the refs. You're like, there's no possible way. And then you see the replay on TV. You're like, all right, yeah, he probably got him. Fair enough. So I do agree, but I think there's situations where in football, like the environment just makes it so cool.
I would say not even really that hot of a take by Danny. I kind of think this is the obvious take that I think if you ask Dakota, would you rather go to a Sunday 1 p.m. game or be at your couch and be able to have Red Zone on in all your channels? He's taking the couch every single time.
Give me the couch, 100%. But a Saturday night in the Den, playoffs, divisional round, you can't beat it. You can't beat it.
I'm worried for you that you predicted a victory for a team that when's the last Lions playoff victory?
Last season, Tom, they're in the NFC Championship. Nice try. Boom, roasted.
But how'd that work out in the NFC Championship?
They lost in the NFC Championship, but they won 2 games before it. Rams at home, Bucks at home. Suck it. Ian, over to you. Tom's trying to get me fired up, and it's working.
I think you made a very good point about the occasion matters and the playoff games and stuff like that is different. I'm of the opinion that like 1 to 2 in-person games a year is probably like a great dose. Like you go to a game, you do the whole thing like we did this year. We went to one game, did the whole tailgate thing, got to see the game. It was a great time. It was a great atmosphere. Am I the guy that's going to be the warrior every weekend doing that or 8 times a year? Probably not. It's probably not my game.
I think a great point. Tailgating is another huge factor of like especially college football. Like that is a big factor of that makes it 10 times more fun when like you're with your buddies sitting outside. For me, always in the cold because it's East Lansing in November, but like that is fun. I will say in contrast, I find baseball to be 100 times more enjoyable in person than on TV. Obviously very different sport, but I think baseball in person is way better than on TV.
It is a very different experience in person going to a game because there's so much like in the downtime that you would have on TV. There's generally things going on around the ballpark.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the video board or whether that's the stuff in between innings on the board, it's much more of like a fan focused experience in between.
I'm just thinking of sitting on my couch watching like a game at Wrigley at 1:00 on a Friday, beautiful sunshiny day, 72 degrees. Or sitting in Wrigley, 72 degrees, hot dog in hand, maybe an adult beverage in the other hand, watching IH8 hit a homer. Like, that sounds pretty cool.
Does it get better?
I don't think so. Lions win Saturday might, but other than that, no.
Let's get the people the Sloan screen time. Remember, next week, Cubs Con Compound Live, guest to be announced. Sloan.
Why do you keep saying next week? It's this week.
This, whatever week it is, all right?
He's trying to say like the episode will be next week.
Next week's episode, Cubs Live, Compound Live.
But as you're listening to this, it will be this weekend, Cubs Con.
Wait, was that live? I'm not sure. Can you tell me, is it going to be live?
Tom's got an attitude tonight.
Sloan is the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems. The company is at the forefront of the green building movement and provides smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water-efficient products, including flush-o-meters, faucets, sink systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit sloan.com. What are your screen times?
7:22. It's a bad day for the big fella. Bad day for the big fella. Don't make that face, Tom. It wasn't good.
4 hours, 53 minutes.
Oh, yes, Ian. Oh, yeah, 2:14, but an hour of it was talking to the fire department about my alarms going off. So really, let's hear it. Go ahead.
2:48 for me. 2:48.
I was close.
And I got a little bit of a bar going. Like I woke up at 7. I was like,
because you golfed. Because you golfed. Like, oh no,
I did not golf. Course is
told me
you
today. Golfed today. You're so
course is closed today. I did not golf.
It's a Monday. That's right. Tomorrow you're golfing.
Tomorrow, yeah, and I played Saturday and Sunday.
Can we just know that Dakota just screamed, "You told me you golfed," and then immediately turned out the course was not even open today?
Yeah, I quickly realized he said he was golfing tomorrow, and I was like, hand up, accountability, hand up right here. I was wrong.
I just typed in Zach's name to send the photo to. I typed in compound, and then our chat with Zach came up, and then instead of typing in one of your 2 names, I typed in Zach's name, and then his name came up, and I was like, well, there's nothing. And then
you trying to make me cry? You trying to make me
tough
tear up?
I'm trying to make Zach cry. Hopefully he listens to this.
We got him back in here. We got a question from him.
He listened to last week's for sure. I got a text from him.
He did.
I was like, this guy's listening to the pod.
He loves it. He can't get enough of us.
That's episode 241 of the Compound Podcast presented by Parse Rum. Go to Binny's, get your Parse Tell them the compound sent you. Maybe send us a photo. Send us a photo to the Twitter on the compound on the Twitter of your parlay. Also, like, subscribe, resubscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe. We haven't asked for that in a long time, but do that. Do that wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll see you next week.